Good day, everyone. I'm Contessa Brewer, live at the news desk, and we begin this hour with breaking news from Baghdad. We're getting our first video in at this hour of President Obama's surprise visit with U.S. troops. Right now, the president is at Camp Victory, and as you can see, he's being greeted warmly by the men and women of the armed forces there. He's been talking to them, telling them that they kept focused on this task before them in Iraq, and they've given Iraq an opportunity to stand on its own as a democratic country, and he thanked them for all their hard work. But he also warned them that the next 18 months are going to be a critical period, a time to transition to the Iraqis, that it's time for them to take responsibility for their own country. And he discussed some issues with General Ray Odierno, who's the commander of the troops there in Iraq, and said that the Iraqis have got to resolve these ongoing differences between the Sunni and the Shiite factions. And this coming on a day when there's been more violence. There were 9 people killed in a Shiite neighborhood in Baghdad and in Fallujah as well. Some attackers drove into a police checkpoint and killed several police officers there in Fallujah. So the violence is ongoing. Let me go bring in Jennifer Levin, who's with the president. She's a reporter for the Associated Press. I mean, we're looking at the video here, Jennifer, just moments ago when the president was greeting the troops. And this is a stellar response for the new president.
That's right. He walked into just wild cheers from the hundreds of troops that were inside this palace. And one thing that really struck me was the line that he was applauded for the most was not when he said thank you, not when he said we'll take care of your families, but when he said it is time for Iraq to take responsibility for itself. And the place just erupted when he said that.
So there's a sense among the troops on the ground, obviously, that they are caretaking for this government. We were also told that has he handed out the Medal of Valor awards yet?
Yes, that was to 10 soldiers here, but of course, as a private ceremony. He is now actually not at the palace. He's at General Ray Odierno's home, where he is meeting with the Iraqi Prime Minister. He will also meet with the Iraqi president. The visit is really very short. It's only a few hours before he heads back to Washington.
Nouri al-Maliki and Jalal Talabani having to make the trip to Camp Victory, we're told, because of some issues with the weather. A sandstorm kicked up. Visibility was diminished enough that they didn't want the president flying in helicopters, and also because of the threat of a blackout sandstorm as well. Jennifer, how long is the president expected to stay in this meeting with the Iraqi politicians?
Well, things are quite fluid here. You know, the best laid plans, as you noted, there was a sandstorm that kind of rearranged what he was doing here. He was going to go to the green zone. That was going to be the first thing he did after landing at the airport in Baghdad. Instead, he motorcaded over to Camp Victory to talk to the troops. And as you pointed out, the Prime Minister and the President of Iraq came out here to see him. So it's not exactly certain how long this will go on, but he's been in this meeting for a few minutes now. I expect it to last quite a bit longer, and then he goes into the next meeting, and then, as I said, he'll go home. He really came here with a couple messages. One was obviously to say thank you, which is a necessity for a commander-in-chief when he's got troops fighting on the front lines. The other was to remind the country and the leaders here in Iraq that though all the talk right now, a lot of the talk in public is about Afghanistan and getting that strategy revamped and reoriented, that there still are some very serious challenges here in Iraq, and with the elections coming up, it is quite a fragile time and could get more so, and he wanted to bring some of his personal attention to that issue.
We're told that Beau Biden, the vice president's son, who's serving with the Delaware National Guard in Iraq, was there in attendance when the president was making his comments. Do you know how much of a heads up these troops got that they would be meeting their commander-in-chief?
I don't know, actually, to be honest with you. There are quite a few people who didn't know about this visit. Those of us traveling with the president had very little notice. Some of the troops, actually, when the motorcade pulled up to Al-Fa Palace at Camp Victory, there were a couple hundred, 200 or 300 troops standing at attention outside, and the reason for that was that they hadn't been able to get inside yet because events had been rearranged so quickly.
And were you able to ask any of the troops after President Obama made his little speech to them, were you able to talk to any of them just about their reaction?
I wish I could have talked to them individually. We're running around quite quickly here, but you could tell by the way that folks were eager to hear him come in the room, and the way they cheered when he walked in, and the way they cheered when he left, that it definitely was a morale boost to have their new president come and visit them.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing, too, the digital cameras. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us by phone while you're covering the president's visit there to Baghdad, Iraq. Thank you.